It's Winfred, and welcome to this channel where it's all about life. Today we are talking about life, and I'm so glad you have tuned in. Those of you who are dropping by for the very first time, welcome to this channel. And those of you who have subscribed, who have always tuned in, you are amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are trying to adjust and get started. So just give me a few minutes and then we will be able to start. Thank you so much for keeping time. And those of you who have always uh, been on a lookout for this, guys, thank you so much. I'm grateful. My name is Winfred, and welcome to this channel where it's all about life. Or every Friday, this is dedicated to doing life. We discuss life. Sometimes we talk about money, sometimes we talk about relationships, we talk about investments, leadership. There are so many topics that we deal with. We talk about literally anything in between. Yeah, so if you are one that enjoys chatting, enjoys lives about life, yeah, you're in the right place. And um, those of you who are dropping by for the very first time, you are so much welcome. This channel is dedicated to Bible reading, but Fridays we do live. And today is not any different. We are on live, it's a live chat, so you can go ahead and drop in your comments and send regards and just chat your Friday night away. If you have no one to hang out with this Friday, you are welcome to this chat. Let us talk about life. And today the topic of discussion is toxic love. Why we stay in painful relationships. That is the topic that we are going to be dealing with today. So if you have any opinion on that, if you have gone through that, any experiences, they are welcome. You can drop it down in the comment section, and together let us grow each other. I, for one, I enjoy reading your messages and I enjoy your opinions as well. It's a live chat, and so any opinion counts. And as we wait for others to get on board, tell a friend, guys, grab a cup of coffee. This will be a long one and you don't want to miss it. So tell a friend and share the link so that together we can chat Friday night away. I'm just trying to share the link so that others can get on board. And this will take me just a minute. So as you guys grab a bite, as you get those cups of coffee, let us chat toxic relationships. Otherwise, go ahead and drop your comments. I will be able to read them. So I've finished sharing the link. Now we can start. Oh my goodness, I already see some comments and I would like to read them. Rogers, you're so much welcome here. Rogers says, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Rogers. And please like and comment. Thank you so much, Rogers. Hi, Jasper. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I'm so glad that we are on board. Today, we are talking about toxic love and why we stay in painful relationships. Rogers, I hope you had a good evening. Jasper, I hope you had a good one. I'm hoping other people will get on board as we go. Otherwise, the topic of discussion is toxic love, why we stay in painful relationships. Why do we hold on to the very people that uh, hurt us? Is the topic of discussion today. Why does love, something that is supposed to be kind, sometimes feel like it's a prison? Those are the areas that we're going to be covering. Today, we dive deep into the painful truth about toxic relationships. So, if you've been wondering why so many people stay in such relationships, or why are so many people still stuck in such relationships, well, today maybe you get a thing or two about why people stay in toxic relationship. This video is for anyone who has ever asked, why can't I leave? Anyone who has ever asked, why can't I leave? This video is for you. We are sharing stories and why people stay in on why people stay in toxic relationship. For starters, we'll start off asking, what is a toxic relationship? Yeah, it is not defined by constant violence. Sometimes it is in silence, sometimes it's in manipulation, the fear of speaking up. All those are signs of a toxic relationship. But while we start off our relationships, we are so in love, we are intrigued, because such relationships start off very well, with so much love showering. There's so much that is going on, and you don't want to see the what is actually right before you. It's much later that things turn haywire. Otherwise, if it started off, obvious that this is toxic, everyone would run. But why do people stay? That is the topic of discussion today. Some of the signs that it's a toxic relationship is the control. Yeah, the control. We will go deep into control. We will go into gaslighting a person. Yeah, gaslighting, emotional blackmail, and there is also love booming. All these are signs that it's a toxic relationship. But while it starts, oh my goodness, you don't even want to believe it's what you're dealing with until it's too late. And you find it even very hard to get away. Otherwise, people like Jasper and Rogers. Rogers, you always keep it right here and you keep time. Thank you so much. Even when we have load shedding, you're always there. Guys, thank you so much. I'm indebted. Otherwise, the topic is toxic love. Yeah, I'm trying to get everyone on board so that we start off as a group. Toxic love, have you gone through it? Yeah, Rogers, why we stay in love? Because of honor, like people. Let me read what Rogers just said. We stay in toxic love because of honor, like people say, that is Rogers. That is Roger's wife. Oh, so that's why people stay in toxic relationships. Well, I, for one, I wouldn't stay, because if it is toxic, whether they call me Mister, whether they call me Mrs., whether they call me wife or what, I would leave, because all these toxic relationships have always ended up really bad. And if you wait because of honor, well, yeah, but that is so true, Rogers. Many people leave and stay in such relationships because, what will people say? What will people think? They already know me as Mrs. So and so. And so it becomes hard for you to leave. But a toxic relationship, guys, is a toxic relationship. Whether you are honored at home and outside, whether you're honored outside and at home you are a doormat, it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. There are so many clear signs that this is toxic, but people hang in there, and until it is too late. I mean, there's a lady, there's a couple of Sam and Lisa. Sam was checking Lisa's phone all the time, controls her clothing. When she wears her makeup, he's talking about it, and he would always end up blaming her for his anger. And that started off small, always checking her phone. Who are you talking to? Who talked to you? Who did you text while you were away? Where did you go off to? You know, what clothes, why are you dressed like that? I think there are those telltale signs, but us ladies, we tend to think it is love. I know of a lady who was not happy if her man didn't beat her. I mean, the moment they were not fighting, she thought she had lost all the love. So she was okay. She was okay with the beating. Rogers is saying, Lillian, help us here. If you're there, Lillian, we need to hear your opinion. I hope you've tuned in. Quality Marriage. Audrey, Jamie 77T. Guys, we are waiting on you and hope you come on board and give us your opinions. Rogers, thank you so much. That guy Sam was controlling, but Lisa was thinking, okay, this is all love. The guy is possessive. He really loves me so much. He doesn't want anyone talking to me. He doesn't want anyone, looking at me. That's why he was controlling her clothes, controlling the way she dressed up, the way she made herself up, the way she looked, who she spoke to or texted. Well, it gets to a place where it's boring and it's disturbing when someone is that controlling. And there are so many signs that we will see as we go on. But a toxic relationship has signs. An example is a person being controlling, overly controlling. They control where you go, who you speak to, what you do, everything. It starts off small. Yeah. Toxic relationships don't constantly, don't, are not defined as constantly violent. Sometimes it is that silence, that the man just keeps silent or the woman just goes silent on you. Sometimes it's in the manipulation, it's in the fear of speaking up. You do something small, your opinion doesn't count. He's always hushing you up. I know of this man who had gotten a girlfriend, and the girl thought she could give her opinions whenever. And the guy said to her, when I'm in with people, when I'm around people, you just keep quiet and just look pretty. That is all I want from you. I don't want you saying anything, not to speak a word, because that's not what you're there for. You're just there to look beautiful. Can you imagine? And I'm thinking that kind of relationship is a toxic one. But I don't know for her whether that rubbed off well. But for me, that would, hit all the red flags and I'll be ready to run anytime. But she stayed around and hung in there despite the fact that the man was doing all those things to her. So guys, it's a live chat and the topic of discussion is toxic love. Why we stay in painful relationships. That is what we are going to be diving into. And it's a live chat. Go on and send your opinions, your comments. I'll read them as and when time allows. And also, you can also go on and call in, on +256 7625999138. That's the number to call in, and we can also hear your opinion on this one. Otherwise, why do people hold on to the very people that hurt them? That's all. Lillian says, good evening all. Yeah, Lillian, good to see you. Rogers was already asking about you and where you are. I'm hoping, Rogers, you've noticed. She's right here and her opinion will count. Yeah. So, Lillian, while you are away, the topic of discussion is toxic love. Why do we stay in painful relationships? Why do people stay in such painful relationships? Why do we hold on to the very people who hurt us? Yeah. Why does love, something that is supposed to be kind, sometimes feel like a prison? Those are the areas that we are going to be covering today. And Roger says sometimes people stay in that kind of love because of running years. I like Roger's comments. Because of running years without married people. Uh, Married people use words like example, Liviani, Diva, for example. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, those words can keep us really in those toxic relationships. When you hear words you from people saying probably you are diva, or you have no one that is checking you out. So that is why we stay in those toxic relationships. And Roger says, good evening to you, to Lydian. Yeah. Otherwise, back to our topic. Yeah, there is a reason why people stay in those toxic relationships. An example is the words of people. Like Rogers has said, they say you have no one else that will take you on, you are left over, there's no one that can care for you. Those are reasons that keep people in toxic relationships. Otherwise, those of you who have just joined, the topic of discussion today is toxic love. Why we stay in painful relationships. Why do we hold on to the very people who hurt us? Is the topic of discussion today. Why does love, something that is supposed to be kind, yeah, sometimes feel like a prison? That is what we are going to talk about. Today we dive deep into the painful truth about toxic relationships. Why do so many people stay in such relationships? So it's a live chat. Go on and give your opinion as to why people stay in such toxic relationships. This video is for anyone who has ever asked, why can't I leave? I mean, you see it is toxic, but you can't leave. You hang in there to the abuse. Yeah. We are sharing stories on why people stay in toxic relationships. It's a live chat. Go on, drop your comments. We'll be able to read them as and when they drop in. For starters, we go into asking, what is a toxic relationship? It's not defined by constant violence. Yeah. Sometimes it's in the silence, in the manipulation, it's in the fear of speaking up that someone is actually going through a toxic relationship. There are characteristics of a toxic relationship, like control. When a person is overly controlling, like there's this guy called Sam and Lisa. Sam started off like this, the very best thing that had ever happened to Lisa. But then he started checking her phone, controlling who she's talking to, who she's texting, what site she's going on. And then started getting into her makeup. You can't be wearing makeup. No, you cannot be wearing those clothes. And that is how it started. And Lisa thought the man is just possessive. He just likes her to himself. Well, actually, this man was one that is toxifying the relationship. And by the time Lisa realized this is a bad one for her, she had really gone in deep. But before, she thought that, this man loves me so much, doesn't want other people to see me. That is why he controls how I dress up. He doesn't want me to, other people to be drawn to me. That is why he doesn't want me to make myself up. It starts off confusing. You think it's too much love. He wants you to himself, or she wants you to himself, to herself. An example, even ladies can be toxic in a relationship. They control who you're talking to, where you're going, how you're dressing up. Women can be that as well. So it's not only one way that it's just the guys. It's also the women. They can become that. And I'll read some comments that I've just seen coming. Lydian says, good evening all. Yeah. And Lydian says, I agree with Rogers. Societal pressure. Yeah. you feel like you have to be in that relationship, even when it's toxic, simply because you don't want people to think different about you. They've always known you as Mrs. So and so, Mr. So and so, or you don't want people to say there's no one, you're off layer. No one can have you, like Roger has said, Wadiva. Those are things that people have to bear with, and so they stay in toxic relationships. But really, a toxic relationship is one that anyone wise enough would leave if they happen to see. And Rogers says people can stay because of bad situations they are in. Like, say, I don't have where to go. That is very true. And Jamie770 says, hi. Hi, Jamie. Yeah, people, I know of actually ladies, mostly ladies, because you guys get us into relationships and you've already built the houses, you're already, taking care of us. We don't, you make us even forget how to work, so we don't work. And when it comes to you throwing me out of your house, I have nowhere to start off from. So yeah, not having where to go. I know of this lady who didn't have a job but had two children, and her man was really, really bad. He would beat her in the bus park, in the taxi park, as they are walking about going to get to another taxi, say like they're trading from one taxi to another, and someone makes a comment or looks at her, he would pull her and slap her when she's actually done nothing. But because the man was insecure and people were making passes at the girl, so the man would beat her, for nothing. And at the same time, it's the man who used to go around sleeping with just about anyone. And this made her feel insecure, made her feel small. He would use the degrading words that at some point made her seem like if that guy ever left her, she had nowhere else to go. So that kept her in that relationship, even when it didn't work for her. And she was only hoping. When I asked her one time, why can't you leave? She said, if I only had somewhere to go, somewhere and something to do so I could sustain my children and myself, I could leave. But I've got nothing going for me. So she couldn't go and leave that toxic relationship. So there are many reasons why really people stay in toxic relationships, like we are going to dive into today. Rogers, those are very good comments. And the very signs that this is a toxic relationship is control. Yeah, not it, control. If a person is overly controlling, if they cannot allow you to be yourself, if, I mean, before we meet each other, we all have different personalities. You like certain things, you like dressing up a certain way. Probably that is what even drew the other party to you. But then this person comes and they want to change you completely to something you're not. And it gets to a point where it's so bad, you don't remember who you are anymore because you're lost in this person. That is bad. Control is one of those signs that it's a toxic relationship and you should do something about it. If a person can't allow you, he controls who you talk to, who you text, where you go off to, how you dress up, and uh, how much you eat. I know of this guy who at one time told this lady, let us go out. I mean, they had been going out on several dates. But this particular one, and each time they would go out, the girl would just have maybe a coffee. And she was pretending. Actually, she would go out hungry and watch the man enjoy. But this one time when she talked to me, I was like, don't pretend anymore. If he likes you, eat. I mean, everyone eats. Eat. So that day she goes on a date with him and orders. Every time she would either have a drink of a soft drink or a juice, or water. And I think the man liked it that way because while he was eating, she was going for water. And at one time when we talked, I told her, go on and enjoy your date. So before she would pack, I mean, she would eat a lot so that by the time they're on the date, she's okay just drinking. But this time round, she went starved and enjoyed her meal. She ordered a meal for everything on the menu, local food. In Uganda, I don't know where you guys are watching from, but in Uganda, when you order for food, they can put for you everything. We're talking green bananas or what we call matoke, cassava, sweet potatoes, posho, or what some people call ugali or cornbread. And she ordered for rice, everything that was on the menu. And for the sauce, she ordered for fish, tilapia, and they served it whole. And she took it all down, the food and the fish. And the man was, I don't know whether he was bitter about the bill because the bill was that day really big. Because there was a bill for the fish, it's a special dish, and then the bill for all the foods she had ordered. And when they were done eating, the man waited for her when they were going. Actually, he was bitter and his face had changed. So she asked, "Are you okay?" And he said, "You should really cut down on that food. You eat too much. You need to reduce." And she was struck, for the first time she had eaten, while all the other dates, it was him who was eating. And things ended off from right there because he said, "You really need to reduce eating. You eat a lot and you're too big. You need to reduce on that weight." Already she had started feeling small. Guys, there are telltale signs that this is it's a toxic relationship. You should run. But sometimes I think we want to believe in a thing so much that we just look the other way and forget that this is really the truth that you're dealing with. It's the truth about this person. But we tend to, forget it or sweep it away and just move on. Why? Because you want to be in love, or like Roger said, you don't want to be alone. You don't know where to go. But if you love yourself more, this is what I believe. If you learn to love yourself, someone will learn to love you the way you are. You don't have to change yourself completely to a point where you cannot even find yourself anymore. You like your food, eat it. Let the person know that the one I'm getting really enjoys her food. You like dressing and looking good or sharp. Go on and dress your part. Let this person learn to love you the way you are or leave you. It's okay to be alone for a time because that right person will come and find you, the one who is drawn to you, the real you. In lockdown, we had so many relationships break up. Why? Because people had built their relationships around pretense. And so by the time reality hit, or about who a person really was, because imagine you met and all I'm doing is pretending. I eat very small. Well, I have a low appetite. And yet I've got actually a bigger one. I can take down anything. They didn't know what to do with each other when that time came because we were in total lockdown. And so I was seeing you in the morning, all through the day, up to the evening. You would have nowhere else to go and escape. So that is why many relationships fail because we put on a facade about who we are that is not true. So when you cannot keep up with the appearances anymore, guess what happens? You can't stand me, I can't stand you, and so we part. A toxic relationship is toxic, yeah, regardless of what you're putting ahead of it, it's toxic. You run. That's my take. But let me read some comments from from you guys. Roger says, if you're not born again, people say because of a dogo. If you're not born again, people can say that you are bewitched, and so you stay in a relationship. They say you're staying in it because that man or that woman bewitched you. Otherwise, it's obvious you should run, but you're not running. Oh, yeah, what Rogers is saying is right. Some people stay in relationships because they think they are bewitched. Oh, they don't know for some reason they are not leaving. And the onlookers start thinking and saying words like, "You're probably bewitched. That's why you're still in that relationship." So that goes to show you that a toxic relationship is one that anyone should be leaving, but we stay in them because of different reasons. And Lillian says some people stay in such relationships because of the children, and that is so true. They feel that they should stay behind to protect the children, or even believe that staying around is best for the children. That is very, very true. There are so many relationships. I I I like the belief that we have that people of long ago used to, our parents stayed longer in their marriages, but that doesn't mean they were happy while they were in them. Just because they stayed longer, they stayed longer in those relationships because they had learned to cope. Yeah, they stay because of their children, like Lillian has said. And once the children have grown up and there is no reason to keep you there anymore. You leave his old, you know what, and you just go and do your thing. Yeah, some people stay because of that. Others who happen to have their children, the moment the kids get older, they leave. So people stay, again, like Lilian has said, because of their children. You stay in a relationship that you know is not good for you. The man belittles you, the man beats you, or the woman belittles you. She bosses you around because you stay there because you're like, I don't want to hurt my children. I don't want to have to separate from my children. Yeah, that is very, very true. Now, another thing that is a sign that this is a toxic relationship are the gaslightings. Yeah, gaslighting, a person can be doing something. When I say gaslighting, gaslighting is when a person does something and makes you think you're cuckoos. You know, you didn't really, you overthink things, you're blowing things out of proportion, you're imagining things, makes you think you're crazy when actually you're not. You are, he's those things or she's those things, but this person is gaslighting you, making you think you're the one who is crazy when actually you're not. That is a very, very toxic relationship. If there are signs like someone is gaslighting you, my dear, you run. Gaslighting is when they make you think you are crazy when actually you're not. Say like you see your girl with someone else, and she says, "I think you're seeing things. You're making up things," or uh, it's a man. He is always thinking you're talking to other people. You've been with men when you've actually not. You're dressing up to seduce men. That person is trying to make you think things. I mean, that was your sense of style before you met him. It shouldn't change because you're with him now. But he's trying to change you. And you're actually starting to believe that probably I am. Maybe that's why I'm dressing up this way. But that has always been your style. But this guy or this lady is gaslighting you and making you to think something that is not. That is another sign, a reason, yeah, why people stay in relationships, and it's a sign of a toxic relationship. Another sign of a toxic relationship is emotional blackmail. Say, like this person knows this thing about you, yeah, he knows that you had a past that you're not so proud of, yeah. Before maybe you were a thief, now you get into a relationship with her and you're not doing that anymore, but she knows or he knows that you have done something before in the past that you're not proud of, and then that person uses it all the time on you, so you can't leave. You leave, I'll tell everyone. You leave, I'll kill your son, or I'll tell the whole world that you are a prostitute, you are not good in bed, or you are not good enough. They just emotionally blackmail you until you feel like, really, I can't go anywhere because this person knows so much about me. And if I leave them, they will actually, you know, put all my laundry out there for the world to see. Uh, that can keep a person in a relationship that is toxic, but that is also a sign that it is a toxic relationship. If a person is emotionally blackmailing you, it's a toxic relationship. They are gaslighting you, it's a toxic relationship. They are controlling you, it is a toxic relationship. Now, another thing that we can also see in an emotional blackmail kind of setting. This person, for example, knows that you are not as rich as you had depicted, portrayed yourself when he met you. And he knows exactly the gutters where he picked you from before you met him. and has made you something. And he's always saying, you leave me, I will tell the whole world where you actually come from, what you actually are, that you are a poor girl. And so you stay in a painful relationship because you don't want the whole world to know that you're actually a nobody and it's the one who has made you. He's always reminding you of the far that he has brought you. And so you're like, if I leave, he will take away that mat from under my feet and the world will know that I'm actually poor. I come from this place. They are the ones who had made me. And that keeps you going in a relationship that shouldn't actually be. Yeah, that is a sign of a toxic relationship, and you should be leaving. I see a comment here from Jamie 770. People who believe they are unworthy of love or respect may tolerate poor treatment, like past experiences, especially in childhood, can shape this belief or staying in the relationship. Yeah, someone can make you feel, your past can make you think that you are not worthy of love. No one can love you. A person can actually remind you of that. That if I had not loved you, if I had not been there for you, who else would have? Actually, it reminds me of a story that I was going to tell you about of Prior and Ray. Prior swept Ray swept Prior with uh, a lot of things, flowers in the beginning, phone calls every now and again. And then the comments started. After some time, comments started. The man started saying, if it were not for me, who would have loved you? So you start self-doubting. You start thinking, really, am I that ugly that no one else could love me? So like you're with this person and they are always putting you down. And growing up, I actually know of comments from people who have grown up, and someone always growing up. Maybe you grew up with a stepmother. The stepmother is saying you have a big head, you don't look good. Who will ever marry you? And then you meet this person who, in the beginning, is always there, yeah, making you feel like you're on top of the world. You're the queen, and only after some time, this person changes and starts you bringing their comments. You're actually ugly. You've got that big nose. You've got this, and the other. You can start believing it. And so you think twice before leaving it because you always, like Jamie has said, you start believing a lie and you hang in there because you think you got this, you hit gold once, you can't hit it again. As in, you found this right person. Now, if he leaves you, there'll be no one else to love you. That is why people stay in toxic relationships, and it's actually bad because it's a lie that has been planted in you, and if you believe it, it can stay and grow. And Lillian says others stay because of financial dependence. Yeah. These men know how to really get us to that state. They get you and tell you to stop working. Whatever you are doing, stay home. Don't do anything so you don't work. Or say the man eh, gets you from school and puts you in his house as his wife. Remember, you were supposed to finish up on school, but you did not finish. You started playing house, having children, and before you know it, you've not gone off to school, you've not qualified in anything. And then after some time, he starts treating you like rubbish, reminding you how you are uneducated, you are useless, you are a nobody, you can never make it in society. But here's the reason why you got out of school. You are financially dependent on them. You cannot actually start off your own business because you lack the skills, and so you stay with this man that really doesn't deserve you, but because he has reduced you to that state where you cannot stand on your own, you think less of yourself, and before you know it, you can't live. He starts beating you. In Africa, there's a lot of abuse that carries on, and ladies take it. But don't get me wrong, this abuse in relationship, is two-way. Sometimes it's from the ladies themselves, sometimes it's from the men, but most of the time it's from the men. The man takes the rug off your feet and starts treating you very bad, and you doubt yourself. And because you're depending on them financially, you stay. Because you can't, start up a business, you're not equipped with any skills, you're not qualified, and so you stay in a relationship that is taking you downhill, but you stay anyway. And I would like to read some comments as well. Alan says, "Hi there." Hi, Alan. And he says, "Can women be toxic lovers?" That one Lydian should answer. Can women be toxic lovers? I'll try to explain as well. But I think Rogers and Lydian, you guys can help explain. Or Jamie 770, you can explain as well. Can women be toxic lovers? I think women can be toxic lovers where they love you to a point where they say, I did this for you. I'll not let anyone get between us, not even you. Yeah. Yeah, women can be toxic lovers, just like men can. Women can be toxic lovers because we can also start controlling. I control who you talk to, where you go, when you're not at work. I'm always checking your phone. I'm always giving insults about what you have done when actually you've not. You know, I can disrespect you. I can reduce you to a point where you feel like you're a nobody when you're actually somebody. Women can also be toxic lovers. Anyone who disagrees with me on that one, let me know in the comments. It's a live chat, guys. Go ahead and drop your comments. We'll be able to read them. Women can be toxic lovers. And an example, I can belittle you. Say, like I told you to go and buy fish when you're coming home from work, and then you come back bringing silver fish. Fish in Uganda, there are so many types, but I'm talking about the bigger ones. And then you come back with these ones, the silver fish that are a size of a pinky finger. Oh my goodness, the woman can shower you with insults that men go out there and work and bring food to the table. Or they bring real fish, and this is all you manage to bring. They can be toxic lovers because showering that into a person's life makes them feel less. I mean, he would have loved to come back home with fish like you requested, but was not able to. So I belittle you, make you feel like you're less than a man because you could not provide. I make you feel like you're not good enough a man because, I'm not happy with you. I think we can be toxic lovers as well. And you're saying, how can men identify toxic women? I need to hear from other people's opinions. And Alan says, hello, everyone. Lillian says, toxic lovers in which way? Yeah, Lillian is asking, toxic lovers in which way, Alan? You can maybe let us know how toxic women can be toxic lovers. She needs to know. And Lillian says, okay, I understand now. And yes, definitely women can be toxic lovers too. Or she understands, so you don't maybe have to explain. Yeah, Lillian, you can explain maybe to add to my explanation as to how women can be toxic lovers. We can also be overly demanding. And in before my relatives and I start letting your laundry out. I'm always threatening. I'm going to tell my people. I'm going to tell people you don't have this. You can't do this very well. You're not good enough within this. You know, and the man is always on his toes. When it comes to your relatives, you either provide, or I'm going to tell my parents you're actually poor, or you're this, and you're always on pressure to be something you're not. Yeah. So I think women can be toxic lovers as well. But I wait for Lydian's opinion and Roger's opinion to explain more about toxic lovers. Even Jamie and Audrey, Jasper, I'm waiting for you guys to say something. Even the quality marriage, if you're watching. Otherwise, there's also a sign, another sign that it's a toxic relationship when there is love bombing. Many people don't know about love bombing. Love bombing. It's actually there, and it's one of those signs that is a toxic relationship. A person starts off being too much, like on the high side, texting you about 50 times a day, calling about 70 times a day, flowers in the morning, breakfast on your desk if you're at work, you know, uh, picking you up at work if you're leaving. It starts off and it feels good. It actually feels great. You think, oh my goodness, I've just been, doing just a few chores, or a few I've just handled a few assignments on my desk, and all these messages have come in. Oh my goodness, look at the missed calls that I've had in just about 2 minutes. It starts off seemingly okay until it becomes creepy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love bombing, they start off like that. Like it's showering you with too much love. It seems, what can I call it? It's empowering to feel like you have someone who notices you to that degree, or misses you that much, or is always checking on you that much. But my dear, it gets creepy, and creepy very fast. So love bombing is one of those things that you should look out for in a relationship that is toxic. Same applies to this. Can also be an answer to Alan, who just asked, can women be toxic? How can you identify a toxic woman, a toxic lover? uh, Love booming. I mean, not only men check on ladies that much. These traits that I'm mentioning can cut across. It's either the girl doing them, or it's the man. Yeah. So love booming. A girl can also check on you at 10 times a day, an hour, text and call, and send you love notes and all that. And it seems like it's all she's over. She's so much in love, but really when they are toxic. And the next thing is these other things, like you see, gaslighting, controlling, emotional blackmail, all these things start kicking in. But while it starts, it seems okay, and so it's acceptable. But much later, that is when you realize, oh my goodness, I'm in with a crazy nut. Yeah. Toxic relationships are often invisible at first. They are often invisible at first. Begins with intensity, passion, then slowly control creeps in, and it starts being scary. Yeah, it starts with intensity. These phone calls, these texts, these flowers, this constant checkup on you, these dropping by surprise at work, even at home. Yeah, passion. Then slowly control creeps in. And once control creeps in, there is no reverse. All these other things. And guys, you need to note this. A toxic relationship is not defined constantly with violence. Yeah, it is not. So you cannot say that they are constantly violent. He can actually hit you, and the next thing is buying you flowers, taking you out to dinner, and yet he just beat you. So it's not constantly violent. A toxic relationship sometimes does not start off like that. It can start off with intensity, passion, all the nitty gritties and the good things, until the creeping sets in and things take a different toll. Yeah. Many toxic relationships follow a cycle. They follow a certain cycle, many of them. Yeah, like idealization. There's this the idea of a person that you have. uh, you first of all think, oh my goodness, that is it, this is he, until the real them comes out, and you're scared to the bone. You can't go anywhere. I mean, we've watched enough movies where the person becomes stalked. You fear to even get out of the house. You're always in hiding because this person that you first of all started off thinking is the right, first of all seem like Miss Right or Mr. Right until they change. It's like a flip of a of a card, and you'd seeing a different person dealing with a completely different person. I would like to read some messages. And Lillian says, and separating you from the friends and family is also an indicator. Yes. One of the indicators that this is a toxic relationship, it is the separation of your partner separating you from your friends and your family. These are your support team. You need them to be who you are. I mean, you had them before he was in the picture or before she was in the picture, but then she comes in and makes sure you lose all these friends. They've all got to go. You know, you can't be seen with any of them. I know actually of a gentleman I met some time back. He said, I've been in relationships that didn't work out. And this time round, if I ever get in one again, I'll make sure this girl doesn't have friends. And I was asking, how will you do that? And he said, well, for starters, I'll make sure I'll sleep with all her friends. That way she doesn't bring them home again, because she will know and then keep them away, because she'll try to. And I found that a bit foolish, because that's not wise. No one can live or be able to cope with life without friends and family. But some people, because of their insecurity, they keep friends and family away. They make sure, because they think if it's a man, if he's hanging so much with his family members, they'll advise him on how, to manage things or do things, and so she'll become useless. And if it's the woman, they think that if a woman is kept with her relatives and they are not, colliding in any way, the woman will start being demanding, spending more, learning new things that she'll come demanding for, so they keep the circle really tight and closing on the girl and make sure she doesn't have friends and family around her. Gladly, and that's a very good point that you've just mentioned there. Otherwise, many toxic relationships that I said have a cycle of idealization. You first of all started thinking this is the right person for me. So you think the idea of the man that you've always wanted, of the woman that you've always wanted, is the first thing. You think, oh my goodness, I got her. Oh my goodness, I met him. And guess what? Then things change. Yeah. We all dream of people who will treat us like queens, as kings, who will respect and honor us until things really change. But we always think they are the ones. Then it from idealization to devaluation. This person starts making you feel like you're nothing. You lose your value, sense of value. If before you thought you were pretty, you start thinking you're not, because this person starts coming up with these ideas of what a beautiful person should be. And when you check on that list, none of the things that you've got, match what this person thinks of a beautiful person. So you start thinking less of yourself. You start thinking, oh my goodness, he's doing me a favor staying with me. Because after all, as per the description of beauty, I don't have what she thinks is beautiful or what he thinks is beautiful. So you stick with them because you think it gets to a place where it seems like they are doing you a favor, being with you because you're not it, and yet they are with you. So that is also another sign that it's a toxic relationship and something has got to change. Yeah. Then it changes to discard, where this person is really treating you ill. They are beating you. They are treating you like rubbish. Remember, it starts off with idealization. You are the ideal person. You are the right person, or they are the right people. And then after that, they are devaluing you. You're losing yourself. Before you know it, a person who used to smile, you're not smiling anymore. A person who used to dress up, you're not dressing up anymore. A person who used to love makeup and going out and being happy, you're not happy anymore. Why? Because this person reduced you to this person that is not happy anymore and you've lost yourself. An example of that is a story that I was telling you about of Prayer and Ray. Yeah. Prayer, so Ray started off giving Prayer presents, flowers, checking in on her, text messages every hour, grand promises. But soon as she was committed, things shifted. Yeah. He became cold, distant, then overly affectionate at that again. Prayer was constantly confused as to where she stood in that relationship because she didn't know whether she was being tolerated, whether she was actually being loved, whether she was the one. You see how this person is making her feel things that are not, because at some point he's giving. Yeah. Until this Prayer read about what they call love bombing, did she realize that, oh, this is what is going on with me, and she left. She left that relationship. Well, she still had feelings for the guy, but had to leave because she knew that that was not a healthy relationship and she had to do something about it. Yeah. And another one that I had written down also, another story that I remember very well, was about Sarah and Mike. Yeah. Sarah thought Mike was the one. Oh my goodness, Mike was everything. He knew what to say, knew what to do exactly, and she kept on bragging, I've got Mr. Right finally. Yeah. But few months in, he started making comments. You're lucky I'm with you. If I was not with you, I don't know who would be with you anyway. He would get angry if she wore makeup and spoke to male friends. But remember, she was working before that and had this circle of friends. She was dealing in fabric, yeah. And when you're dealing with any kind of business, you deal not only with women but also men. So suppliers can be male, suppliers can be female. So the man was using all kind of words that were really breaking her down. And when she would cry, he would say, you're too emotional, you cry a lot. He said too, she was always overreacting. That is what the man made her feel like. And yet is the one creating all this, creating the doubt. Yeah. It wasn't until she met her friend that told her, but you don't smile anymore. What is going on with you? That she realized that she had lost herself with this man. She didn't also remember when she was last happy. She last smiled. And it took her a year after that to leave that man. But it wasn't easy because the man had made her feel like, he's doing her a favor. So leaving wasn't one of the first options. And right now, she's a happy woman. You see her smiling, she's back to business. Things are okay. I think, like Roger said, that some of the things we do for society because society will say it will stigmatize you as a failure, as one who is an off layer. Let them say what they want. At the end of the day, I think if you can find yourself, that is okay. That is what I'll basically say about, yeah. Another one that I had written down to give you as an example was of Tina and Marcus. Marcus used to be the guy. I mean, these be all examples I'm giving are because of based on women and men, and it's the men who are being that way. I don't know much about men. Maybe you guys who are out there can also give your take on how women have been toxic in your relationships. All I know is for us, we know how to cut you off from your relatives where you can't, help or deal with relatives anymore. And we can really reduce you down at home where we make you feel like you're not a man anymore if you are not providing. You're not a man if you're not able to get me the latest phone. You're not a man if you cannot get me that car. We can do that. But again, I want to hear from you, gentlemen, your experiences on how we have been toxic in relationships. And Roger says, Lydian, remember this. There is some bad friends. I hope, Lydian, you remember that there are some bad friends. That's why the man can try to disconnect you from friends. And Lillian says, I agree, Rogers, that there are some bad friends. However, total isolation from friends and family is a sign of a toxic person. Rogers, I agree totally with Lillian. If a person is totally, you know, cutting you off, from your friends, from your relatives or family, that's a toxic person. He needs help. And while he's getting it, you need to be away from him because I don't think he will leave you the same by the time he gets the treatment. That is if he realizes he needs the treatment or help. But some people do it intentionally, really, Rogers, and they just cut you off family simply because I know of someone who said, me, I don't want my wife to have any relationship with his family members because once there is a relationship, then they'll come visiting. I'll have to incur money to take care of them when they come visiting. If friends come over, then she'll go to their places, see nice things and want them, and I'm not in position to provide, not at this point. So you see, he was cutting her off, people that would help her. We all need emotional support at some point. Life can throw at you different kinds of things. Sometimes it's just luck. And you going and sitting with friends and laughing about hair days or other things can really help you cope. And maybe it is sickness of children or lack of them or anything. So we really need family and we need friends. And much as Roger says they are bad friends, true, they are bad friends, but not all my friends that you found me with could be bad. There could be some that are okay. Family members can never be bad, that you really have to disconnect me from them in order to stay with you. I don't think all family members can be bad. Family members are family members. They were there before even you. I was giving an example of Tina and Marcus. Marcus showered Tina with gifts, then started criticizing her. Then he started ignoring her completely before repeating the first phase of love. And Tina was confused. Those uh, toxic relationships really leave you confused. At one time, he's beating you, next, he's taking you on holiday. I know of a man who used to do things to the lady, and then after that would be like, how do you feel if you go on a trip to Dubai? You know, and pay for the ticket, and the next thing here in Dubai, and you go shopping. She was excited, she would leave. Comes back to the same thing. Then the man is like, how about if you go to UK and visit relatives? And kept her in that cycle. But it gets to a point where you are actually lost. You don't know what is right, what is wrong. Excuse me, what you should do or what you shouldn't do. So I'm thinking a toxic relationship is one that one should actually run from. It keeps you on an emotional roller coaster. It creates trauma, yeah, bends, it's addictive, and it's very hard to break away from a toxic relationship. That when I say roller coaster, it's because at some point it's really on the high of passion or, you know, love, affection, it is intense. And then the next thing is that drop where you don't even know where you belong. When you don't know whether I'm loved or I'm not loved, whether I'm seen or I'm not seen, whether I'm beautiful or I'm not beautiful, whether I'm appreciated or I'm not appreciated. Because at some point it makes you feel like you are it. And after you've accepted, oh my goodness, that's when the real them comes out and they start belittling you, devaluing you, criticizing you, controlling you, and they leave you in a loop where you don't even know where you belong. So, and it's addictive. You get used to that, and you're like, you keep having the hope. He's done this to me, but he's always got his moments. We tend to give those excuses. Remember, this video is for anyone who has ever thought or asked, why can't I live? It is for you. If you've seen these signs, you need to make up your mind and and decide on what you should do with your life. Why people stay? I ask, why do people stay? All the time I ask, why do people stay where they are hurting? Why do they stay where it's hurting? It's unexplainable because a person reduces you to nothing, but you stay. I guess because of the different reasons that we have given. Lydian has said because of financial dependency. Rogers has said because you have nowhere else to go. There are so many reasons and it's painful, but we stay. And Jamie has said, because you can believe a lie that has been told to you over and over, and you choose to stay because then it feels like this person is doing you a favor being with you, and there's no one else that can take you once this one has left. And so you stay in a painful relationships. Why do people stay? The answers are not simple. For me, this is my research. It is the trauma. Yeah. Attachment trauma is one of those reasons why people stay in toxic relationships. When I say attachment trauma, people from emotionally neglectful or abusive homes can often create these dynamics in adult relationships. Yeah. They are in abusive homes. They are neglected in their homes. So it is easy to often recreate these dynamics in adult relationships. You stay because you have been left alone before, you have been neglected before as a child. And so you're like, everyone that I get attached to leaves me. So if this one has chosen to be with me, I will stay with them, even when you see all these things they are doing with you that are not right. But you're like, maybe I'm getting what I deserve. Maybe this is what a good relationship should be like. Maybe this is how I should be treated after all. Maybe this is reality. When actually it's not. You deserve better. I'll read a message, a text that is just coming. Lillian, keeping up appearances, people need to be real. That is very true. We need to be real in our relationships, but God help the African community, my goodness. We tend to do that a lot. I mean, you meet me, I pretend like I'm the happy person regardless of what you say, whether it's insulting or not. You treat me a certain way that is not right, but I bear because uh, people will see, or people will start thinking about me. And so you present this front before people that things are okay, when actually you're breaking apart, you're falling apart in your own home. So keeping up appearances is one of those things. Yes, thank you, Lydian, for that comment. Another one that I noted that is an answer as to why people stay in toxic relationships is the low self-worth. I mean, when your partner constantly devalues you, you start to believe you don't deserve anyone at all. I mean, he constantly tells you. I know of a gentleman who constantly told his woman, you have ugly legs, like the drumsticks that they used to drum the drums on Kawaka's birthday. And the man would get drunk and say those things many times to this lady. All the time, all the time. And the lady would cry that you are so ugly. Your legs are the ones they used to drum the Kawaka's, the king's birthday. drums, because the Kabaka in Uganda or the king in Uganda, in Buganda, when it's his birthday, apparently they drum certain drums and they use certain sticks to to hit those drums. So he would say those words over and over and over, but the woman would stay and stayed with this man and had a child with this man, and this child grew up to, I think, primary level that the woman got the guts to leave. But every time he would get drunk, that is what he would say. So low self-worth can cause a person to stay in a toxic relationship when actually, if you only realize that you're better than that, you can pack up and leave and do better than what he has reduced you to. Because you think about it, you had the same legs when he was getting interested in you. Now that you're starting to see the real him, he's reminding you how you've got certain legs that do not deserve or don't belong. Don't you think he's playing mind games on you here? Because if he was drawn to you before and started a relationship with you before, with the same legs. I mean, they've not just changed now that you've been in a relationship 6 months down the line or two. It is him. He's toxic. You need to realize that and run. That is my take. But I'll read a message as well. And Lillian says also people stay in a relationship, stay in toxic relationship, especially when they have been together for a long time and start believing that they are too old to move on. Oh my goodness. That is so right. Especially in our African setting. You can stay in a toxic relationship where you know it's not going anywhere. This person is not going to change. They are always pulling you down. They don't have anything good to say about you. They are not supportive in any way. But you stay with them because you start looking at yourself thinking you're too old. No one else can love you. You might as well stay with this old rag, since it can provide shelter, and before the public you look like you've got it all together, and you stay. But that is also wrong. Staying in a relationship with a person simply because you see you have grown old and no one else can love you or appreciate you, that is a good one, Lillian. And Alan says, some women believe if the man does not beat you, then he doesn't love you enough to care. Yeah, that is one of those reasons people stay, because we believe it, that if a person cares enough or loves you enough, they will beat you. This also brings us back to the other point that I mentioned, why people stay in toxic relationship, the attachment trauma. I mean, you grew up at home. Probably that is what you saw, your father hitting your mother constantly. And so when you get into a relationship, you think that is how things should be. So if a man doesn't beat you, you start thinking maybe I've lost it. So you do provocative things so he can beat you and keep that drama going. But that drama is all foolishness, because at one point he can hit you and you die. Then what? Or you sustain serious injuries that cannot be easily fixed. So I'm thinking, if that is your take as well, it's a bad one. It's not good. We should change the way we think about relationship. It shouldn't be that if a person doesn't beat you, then the love has gone cold. No, that shouldn't be the case. And Audrey says, wow, that is simply being a masochist. Because how can one think love derives from pain? Unless they want it in some abnormal way. Yeah, but like I said earlier, it is because of the attachment trauma. People from emotionally neglectful or abusive homes often recreate these dynamics in adult relationships. I mean, that is what they grew up seeing, and so they go looking for the same. They think that is what life should be. A person who hits you hard, loves you hard. A person who doesn't, they have no clue as to what love is. And so that relationship is boring. You need to leave it and go to one where you hit like a drum constantly. Ah, and Lillian says, Alan, is that true? Alan says some women maintain relationships with drama. And that is very true. I've actually met a lady who says the moment you lose the drama, it's boring. You've got to go on to another one where there's excitement, where there's life. Yeah, so it's very true. Some people really go for drama in their relationships where he hits you, you fight, and the neighbors get to hear, come in to help, and then the next day you've made up and things are back for about 2 3 days, then you're back at it fighting like animals. Yeah, it is true. And now another reason why people stay in such relationship is the hope for change. The hope for change is one of those reasons why people stay in toxic relationship. Abusers are not always abusive. Moments of kindness keep hope alive. Now, the hope that they will change can keep them in a toxic relationship. Remember, we are talking about reasons why people stay in toxic relationships. One is the low self worth, the attachment trauma, and now it is the hope for change. If you think your partner will change, I mean, he hits you today, and you're like, but he will change. I think I must have done something to provoke him to that. That keeps you in that relationship. Abusers are not always abusive. Moments of kindness keep that hope alive. I mean, you're like, okay, he beat me today. Maybe I provoked him. And when they are kind, oh my goodness, they go to the moon. Like I told you, this man who would do things to his wife or girlfriend and then send her off to Dubai, to for peace. He would send her off to Dubai for shopping for a week. When she comes back, he's back at it again. And then he's like, oh, how about if you go to, Spain? Do you want to take a trip to Spain? And she kept on flying away for 2 weeks, a week, come back, it's back again. And she learned to bear. Why? Because when he's good, he's really good. And when he's kind, he's really kind. So that kept her in this relationship until it got so bad. Everyone was wondering, when will you realize something is wrong with this man? He cannot hit you, and all you have is hope that he will change. And always take on the blame that I think I may be the one who is triggering him to being this or doing the other. It is him and he's toxic, and you need to run. Let me read a comment. Probably someone has added to what I've just said. And Roger says, why for me I don't see some comments? Oh, I don't know why, Rogers, you're not seeing comments. You should be able to see the comments. And Lillian says, that's very unhealthy. Lillian says, change. A leopard doesn't change its spots. Rogers, I hope you're able to see comments, because we should all be able to see the comments that others are sending in. It's a live chat, guys. Go ahead and drop in your comments. I'll be able to read them. Rogers, once you send a comment, you'll be able to see. Try typing in a comment and see if it will come on. And if it doesn't, maybe you need to log off and then come back on. Maybe then it will register. I don't know why you're not able to see comments. And the other option could be you need to also brighten up your lights on your phone so that you're able to see clearly the comments. But they should be there really. Another reason why people stay in toxic relationship is the financial and emotional dependence that Lillian talked about. Many cannot afford to live or have been isolated from family and friends. If you cannot afford to live on your own, because for starters, this person first isolates you from your friends, and you cannot, talk to them, family, people you would run to ideally for help in case you have any need. He cuts you off those people. And the moment you're cut off from them, then he leaves you. He starts threatening to leave you or puts you on that emotional roller coaster where you don't know where you belong and you have no one to turn to. Because while you are with him, you cut yourself from just about anyone. And so when he leaves, you have nowhere else to go and no one else to turn to. So I think uh, when he does that, it makes some men who do that, it makes them feel macho, where they are the sole providers. They are the only ones you talk to. They are your only friends. They are your everything. They want to create a world where they are the kings, a fake world where they are kings in a kingdom with just you. Can you imagine? They are sick and you really need to run. That is a toxic relationship. An example, people people always say he wasn't always like this. When you see someone who is toxic, you come up with excuses for them. You start saying he wasn't always like this. I didn't want to start over, so I stayed. Or I don't want to start over, so I'm going to stay. Or I thought I could fix him or her. These people are unfixable. You cannot fix a toxic person. Lillian said the leopard cannot change its stripes. If it's got those marks, it cannot wake up and be like, you know what, tomorrow I'll turn up like a zebra. It cannot. Those prints are printed on there permanently. If a person is toxic, they are toxic. Try and check around in their previous relationships. They had the same pattern. And probably that's why the partners they had before left. And you're there thinking, oh, I will fix him. I must have provoked him to doing that. I must have done something. Or uh, I don't want to start over. Those excuses keep us in such relationships. And the other one could be, he wasn't always like this. I must have done something to change him. Or someone must be behind this. So you start bringing or playing the blame game on other people except the person that is actually causing the toxins in your relationship. I want to read a comment that I've just seen. It's a live chat, guys. Go on and comment, and I'll read your comments. Oh, Rogers, so you're okay now to read and see comments? That is very good. And Jasper says, but some people are two-faced. Yes, some people are two-faced in a relationship. Now, where two-faced comes in is if I'm two-faced and you married, but you don't know who you're dealing with in a relationship. But always, this is what I say about relationships. They are telltale signs, but we are too in love, or we want to believe the idea they are the perfect ones. And so we stick in there and overlook so many things that are actually obvious to the world. But we overlook them because we want this to work. Like Roger said, you don't want to be the off layer or a diva, or you don't want to be, you know, the owner that Roger talked about. You want to be honored as Miss So and so or Mr. So and so you stay in that toxic relationship. But being two-faced also can be. That is where Lillian says we need to be real, guys. We need to be real in a relationship. I gave you an example of this lady who went on a date and took down all her food as she had ordered, and the man waited for her outside and was really bitter. He said, you really eat a lot and you're too heavy, you need to cut on that weight. And he was furious, and that marked the end of the date. When she came and told me, I told her, you need to leave this guy, because the real you came out and ate the food you had actually ordered, and he had issues with that. Well, that was is a toxic relationship and you need to run. And when she did, she's never looked behind. Sometimes these things can be fixed one way or the other. And Jasper says it's easy to fall for someone based on what they want to show you. That is very true. Now, it brings me back to what the essence of this channel is: God. You ask God to reveal to you the truth about a person. I cannot rule him out in this one because God has a way of revealing the truth about a person. If a person is really bad, the truth will come out. I mean, I've had cases where people have done things to me behind my back, and God has brought them to light. And I've seen people speak like they're on gunpoint, yeah, telling the things they had done to me without me even being around. And they say them boldly that this one told me to do this and this and this to you and your children or your child, and now he's here doing, you know. So this brings us back to that place of we ask God to reveal the truth about a person because only Him knows the truth about people. We can try to understand them, judge them, or be with them based on what has been revealed. But like Jasper has said, people are two-faced. If they are two-faced, there is no way you can know which one you're dealing with. Growing up, I never wanted to be going out with an actor, a person who is in entertainment, because I didn't know who I'm dealing with. I mean, today you're in an action movie, you're acting and doing it really so well, as you know, as the killer, and then the next one you're in love freak. Yeah, by the time you get married, no wonder those people who are in Hollywood find it hard to keep relationships. I think because they act so many characters and they take some of these to their homes, and whoever is married or living with them doesn't know who is actually pulling through, whether it's the John Travolta or it's the Michael Douglas or it's the Mel Gibson, or you know, you can't really know. So it is only God who knows the truth about a person, and it would be key that we present those issues about the people that we meet before Him. Put signs. There's a time I told a lady that uh, she was in love and really much in love, but it was seemingly like the guy was using her. And he was not living in the country. The guy was living away from Uganda. But each time he would pay a visit in Uganda, she would be the one paying for the ticket. You know, there is the inflation in Uganda where money has no value at all. So if I have to pay for your ticket coming from a country where the inflation is okay, is not there, or the money, the money has value, and then I have to pay for your ticket every time you're coming, and then when he would come for 2 weeks, but the first week he spends it with his family before he shows up to her. You know, and yet she's the one who would pay for the ticket. I told her, wake up, shine your eyes, or like the Nigerians say, shine your eyes and get to see, yeah, that this person is actually using you. Because you can say, I'm not going to pay for your ticket. If you want to come back, come back. If you don't want, stay there. Let it not be one person driving a relationship. It's got to be two-way for a relationship to work. And the day she put down, she was worried that she could lose the man. I told her, if something is yours, let it go. If it ever comes back, then it is surely yours. Now, she was worried that if she let go of the guy and say, well, if you have to come back on your own ticket, or you don't come back at all. That day she did that, the man had planned to come back over for Christmas. He called in and said, well, since you're not paying the ticket, I'm not coming. And she was worried. She was like, okay. But in the meantime, she was also paying so many other bills that the man was supposed to be responsible for, like paying for the brother's tuition. And it looked like she had won the pants in the relationship. But the moment she stopped, I think something snapped, and then the man realized he really had a good thing because no any other woman among the ones he used to come back home to was willing to do that. And now they've been happily married. So some toxic relationships can be reversed early if it is dealt with before marriage. But if things go far and you have children, then these other reasons come in of staying behind because of children and all these other things that we've talked about. Also, there's the cultural and social factors that keep us in relationships. Rogers mentioned one. I mean, you're known in the society that you're Mrs. So and so. So you can't just walk up and leave. Yeah? You can't wake up and leave because you found out the man you actually married to is a psycho or is toxic. You can't, because there are those cultural and social factors. Now, in some cultures, leaving is a sin. Like the Indian community, it's a sin. There's a lady I met while one of my sisters was getting married, and we had gone to buy her a ring. And the lady that was making the rings is an Indian who had started off a business as a smith making rings, but she was also a scammer. She was melting things and molding them into rings and selling them expensively, because my sister's ring that she bought from her shop, bro, split it into two after just a couple of months. So that goes to show me that she was a scammer. But she told me her story. She said, instead of talking to my sister, she talked to me. And she said, I need to talk to you. And this is an Indian lady. She said, my husband brought me from India to here. We have 5 children. And then he left me for another woman, another Indian woman. Now they live in Kenya. And I'm stuck in Uganda, nowhere to maintain myself and the 5 children. We are renting. I've got to pay rent for the shop, rent for the house where we're staying. I don't know what to do anymore. Now, but before that, she was thinking, because she saw me wearing a ring, that if I'm married and I'm still wearing this ring, probably I know of someone that I can go to that can give her some kind of a charm to bring that man back. She told me, I've tried everything. Anyone who can bewitch, to bewitch this man so he can come back to this relation. And already before he left, he was abusive, leaving her alone in the house with the children, not paying his part as playing his part as a man, but she still wanted him to come back home, because in India it's unheard of if your man leaves after you've been married. I mean, it's okay if he divorces, I think, but divorce is not also so much. But if he just leaves you alone, then I think it's got bad omen and all that. It's a sin. So she wanted him back. So some cultures, leaving is a sin. That's why people stay in such toxic relationships. In others, women are taught to endure for their children. Many cultures, especially the African culture, many endure for the sake of their children. I mean, it's not taking you anywhere, you're not happy. This person is constantly belittling you, devaluing you, making you feel like you're nothing. And all the other ladies have all that you don't have. But you get to ask yourself, if they have what I don't have, what are you doing with me? So it gets to a place where they enjoy the psychological torture of it, where they torture you psychologically, making you feel less than, making you feel like, you've not got it, and yet they are still with you. So those cultures, women are taught, some cultures like the African culture, you're taught to endure for your children, that you look the other way, or you bear whatever it is that is cast at you for the sake of the children. So some people stay in toxic relationships because of their children. Now, that is the culture aspect, but also cultural values and family pressure. Like Roger said, the cultural values and family pressure can force people to get stuck, even when the relationship is destroying them, to stay. The family pressure, because like in Uganda, where I come from, I don't know where you guys are watching from, but in Uganda, where I come from, uh, when you're getting married, they pay what they call bride price. And sometimes they pay so many things. They bring in the cows, they bring in the chairs, furniture, I mean, all kinds of things. And once the parents get to receive those things, You cannot go back because your man is always constantly reminding you of how much he paid for you to be his wife. So you can't leave except you return all that he gave. But sometimes the things he gave, you're not even in position, your family is not in position to return because they are long spoiled, or your parents sold them to be able to cater for so many things. Probably you're not well to do where you come from. And so it leaves you in this state where you just have nothing to do but to stay in a toxic relationship. One you know that is painful, one you know that is leading you nowhere, but you stay because of family pressure. You don't want to put the weight on your family of having to reimburse the car, the clothes, the furniture that was bought on the day of your wedding. So you stay in a relationship that you know is actually destroying you. I will read a comment. And Roger says, for us, we got women for free. Bambi. Rogers, you're saying that because you're not married. You're what they call kaundo kakubye dinisa. You know, you are one of those men that's, snatched. They call it what? They call it, I won't even say you eloped because you are not even married. You're not recognized. If something happens to that lady in your care, say like anything, you will see when you have to present to the parents where she's been all this time and why she was with you minus you paying all the dues that you are supposed to pay. So you be bragging, but you need to go there and they get to see you and know you as Rogers, the rich man, not the broke guy. Otherwise, arranged marriages, religious guilt is one of them. For arranged marriages, Roger says, yeah, arranged marriages, the religious guilt is one of them, and the community shame. Rogers mentioned something like that when he said, you are used to being called Mrs. So and so, Muchala wa Gundi, and then you're not living up to that anymore. That can scare you into staying in a toxic relationship. The religious guilt, where you exchanged vows and you start thinking, if I left, how would people see it? Or what would people think of me, Because you went to church, you exchanged vows, and now how will the world hear that you left? So that keeps you in a relationship that is really destroying you because it leaves you with a guilt. You cannot, you did it in church. Everyone was watching. You walked down that aisle. You wore white. You exchange those vows. So that keeps you from leaving. Another one is the community shame. People see you differently when you leave a relationship. They start saying all kinds of words behind your back. Yeah, that community shame. You can't go anywhere without them saying that one was once married. She's a failure. She's an off cut. She's an off layer. She can't be married by anyone anymore. She's a reject. And so those things keep you in a relationship that you know is leading to nowhere. Now, I also wrote down a story of Maya. Maya is a young woman whose boyfriend isolates her from friends. She finally reaches out to a cousin who helps her. Yeah. Maya was isolated by the boyfriend from all her friends, all her family members, and everyone would wonder, where is Maya? Anytime there's a wedding, she wouldn't show. Anytime there's a birthday, she wouldn't show. And so people forgot about Maya. But in the meantime, Maya was going through hell without anyone to talk to, no one to explain to. Sometimes when you talk about something doesn't mean that it has gone away, but you feel like you found a way to be able to cope. But She was isolated by the boyfriend. It is later that the cousin got to know and is like, what? All along we thought you were doing okay. You didn't want to know. Now that you are doing well, now that you have your boyfriend, that is why we stayed away. When that cousin got to know, she came full swing and got Maya out of that toxic relationship. And that's what helped Maya because she spoke up. So speaking up, finding someone that you can talk to will also help you probably be able to get the guts of living. A man in a relationship with a narcissist, yeah, he learns the term gaslighting and realizes it's not crazy. Yeah, is also one that if we are to look at it in the Rogers, you've been saying a lot, and Alan, but you've not said about whether you know of women being toxic lovers. Men on that are watching, go ahead and drop in the comments if you've had any experiences with toxic women lovers, because we may be here thinking it's only the men when it's only the men when it's actually the women do it. From a man's point of view, guys, let us know whether we women also do act crazy and make you think you're crazy. Remember, guys, escaping and healing is not easy. Escaping a toxic relationship is not easy. And healing from it is not easy. Yeah. Roger has written something and I'll read it. Next time, why some women take a chance at taking charge of the family or because a leader of the family. Oh, is that a topic for next time that you're suggesting? Rogers, let me know if this is a topic that you're suggesting for next time. Why some women take in charge of their family or become leaders of their family. Let me know if that's a topic you're suggesting for next time, because I need to understand if that's a topic that you're suggesting for next time. Otherwise, like I was saying, escaping a toxic relationship and healing from it is not easy, but staying is even harder on the soul. Staying in a toxic relationship, correction, I think you said, become a leader. I need to know if that is a topic that you're suggesting. Oh, it's a topic. Okay, we'll look into it. Why women take charge of their families and become leaders. Okay, we'll look into that, Rogers. Thank you for suggesting. I was saying escaping and healing from a toxic relationship is hard, is not easy. But staying in is even harder on the soul. Staying in such a relationship is hard on the soul. Now, steps to leave. There are steps that you can take to leave such a toxic relationship. One of them would be creating a plan. I don't like it when when you are in a relationship, it is toxic, and you just wake up, pack up, and leave, and end up on the street. That is not good. The best thing that you can do is make up a plan, create a plan. I'll save money. Start calling or checking up on those people that you had given up on, the man had stopped you from seeing, so that you can have somewhere to go when things fall up on you. You know, when you start to remove the walls that had been standing before you and actually step out. Create a plan on how to live. Reach out to some of the trusted people. Yeah. If you know there are people who you can trust that will not, start gossiping or talking about what you're planning to do or what you're going through, people who won't make fun of what you are actually experiencing. Yeah. Reach out to them and let them know what you're actually going through and see who will help you. Because, like I said, Maya, a cousin came in. The moment Maya spoke up, and the cousin got to know. Because before, people were thinking, those relationships, a person excludes you from your, sorry, isolates you from your relatives and friends. Friends start thinking you're like that probably because you found a man that is rich, you don't want to share, or they start thinking you're like that because you got rich. Yeah, they can start thinking all kinds of things. But once you speak out, people get to know the truth, and you'll be surprised who is willing to help you get out. There is help. Then gather important documents. In case you have to leave such a toxic relationship, gather important documents, because this man can control you by those documents. He can, or she can. If she has the land titles, she can take everything and be like, if you leave me, I'll burn them. Yeah. Or if you have your children that you're worried about and you can't leave because of children, you let in on some of your children if they are older and can actually handle. Let them know about what is going on so that you would be surprised. They could even be willing to live with you regardless of where you're going. And they could be in support of you because of what you're going through. So, and there are steps also for healing. You could try therapy. I used to think there are no therapists in Uganda who can help you cope. Yeah. And Roger says, Mommy, that Indian woman is still there. Oh, Rogers. Ah, I want to marry her. Rogers, you're not real. I mean, we've got so many Ugandan women that are waiting to be married. And now you want to marry this Maya that was going through this. She's already damaged. Why do you want damaged goods? So you can start on the toxic behavior and get her back to where she's trying to jump from. What happened to the one you said you got without paying for anything? Rogers. The Indian woman is still there, Rogers. In case, yeah. But I don't think she's ready to go for one who is looking specifically for those ones who have been in toxic relationships. Otherwise, guys, I was saying there are steps for healing. Yeah, there is therapy where you can go and talk about things and get help. There are places you can go and just talk about what you've been through. And you will be surprised you're not alone. There are others who have been through the same and they've been able to overcome and started up these groups where you can go and just talk about what you've been through and you share experiences and get encouragement that it's actually not the end but the beginning, that you can actually get better and over all that has happened to you and get to the other side where it's better. There are also communities which help people who have been in toxic relationships. There are communities where you can go, and there are organizations that support women if you have been in abusive relationships. You can start off with the LCs who can help you, guide you to where you can go and receive help. And building identities. You can build one. I know the man that you have been with or the woman that you have been with has broken you up, but you can build an identity for yourself. You can build yourself up constantly. I know this lady who constantly wakes up, looks in the mirror and says, "Look at you, beautiful thing." Yeah. Always saying positive words about herself. Whether she sees what everyone else is seeing, well, that is up to you guys. But for her, she wakes up and says, "Good morning, beautiful thing." She says only the positive things. Today is your day. You will do great things. You are amazing. You are enterprising. You are all these positive things. And because she says them over and over to herself every morning, she's starting to believe it. And she's walking with all these airs like she owns the streets of Kampala. When actually she has even no piece of land anywhere. So we can, you can start building your identity. Don't lose yourself. First of all, you start off by knowing that this man or this woman that is putting you down at some point was drawn to you. That is your start off. This person was drawn to you in the very beginning and saw the beauty in you or the goodness in you. That is why they were drawn to you and they lived with you. Just because they are saying negative things about you now and treating you ill does not mean you've changed. It is them that have got their own issues and making you live on the edge all the time. You know, looking and comparing yourself to these men who are not even there or women that are not even there and making you feel small. That is not what you should do. It's not healthy for you. It is not leading you anywhere. But you can, build your own identity from here on, where it's only positiveness. And there are resources that you can use. There are books that are encouraging, like the Bible for starters, which says you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Yeah. And because the Bible says that, believe it. Because God doesn't make mistakes. He's not in heaven saying, oops, I gave uh, Rogers a big nose. Oops, I gave, who and who, these things. Whatever it is that you're insecure about, or whatever it is this person has made you feel less of, God does not make mistakes. So there are resources, there are books that can encourage you. I gave an example, the Bible for starters has only positive things. So if you don't know where to find it in the Bible, yeah, this channel is right for you because we read the Bible from Genesis all the way up to Revelation. And in between there, you could find a chapter that encourages you. So just join and subscribe. You'll be able to get all these encouragements. But also, there are books that talk about recovering from a toxic relationship. You can look them up and actually use them. They will help you find your footing once again. And also, there are support groups. There are support groups. Have you noticed that when you're going through something, when you go typing online, it's what you're looking for? People who have been battered, people who have been in relationships that are abusive, and all this information is out there. But guess what? It also has ways on how people have been able to combat or recover from whatever terrible experiences they had. And so you can look up on those and or join those support groups and get help. There are also lists of hotlines that you can, write on and be helped. Roger says something, and I'll read it. It's really interesting. On Maya is issues. Some women they love to produce a lot of children in short periods of time. Obu- Obuvunaanyizibwa bwakusukka ku musajja n'adduka. What Rogers is saying is that on Maya's issue, some women love to produce a lot of children in a short period of time. And so the responsibility overweighs the man, and so he runs. Yeah, but remember, an abusive relationship or a toxic relationship does not start when a child is born. It actually starts before even children come in the picture. And you just choose to have children, thinking maybe if you have children, this man will have a change of heart and treat you better and love you and notice you. And then you just keep on giving birth and things don't change. And the man just becomes even more violent. So, like I said, toxic relationships do not start with violence. They are actually sometimes quiet, yeah, manipulative. They are silent things. Otherwise, if they were obvious, you would run. So what they do, they keep them on the down low where you don't really know what is going on, but it's not so obvious. Some of them are really get violent where a person hits you or throws you out of the house, locks you out of the house, but not all of them are. Things have evolved and people do know how to, you know, control others minus touching them or emotionally abuse them or be blackmailing them emotionally minus actually touching them or running away. They stick around but reduce you to nothing, to a point where you feel lost. You don't know who you are anymore. You don't know where you are anymore. But actually present in a relationship, but not there anymore. Those things happen. Now, this is what I would say. You are not weak for staying in such a relationship. No, 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 no. You're not weak for staying in such a relationship where a person is hitting you today, a person is saying this to you today, a person is doing the other to you today. But you're not weak. Actually, you are strong. You are strong for even considering leaving. You are strong because not everyone is ready for such. Some people don't know even how to get out of it. They just give up and cease to exist. They just exist. They just live, but they're, I don't even know. I think they exist but don't live anymore. You know, like you're with a person but you're not there. You die to self because you've been reduced to nothing. Now, my closing thoughts would be, if you are in a toxic relationship, know this. For starters, love should not hurt. It shouldn't hurt. So if you're hurting and you're in love, you're in a toxic relationship. Love shouldn't hurt. Love shouldn't hurt. And it should not make you feel like you're in prison. Love should make you feel free and on top of the world, ready to fly to greater heights. Now, if that is robbed from you, it is a toxic relationship. It should make you feel like you can fly and take on the world any day, any time. But if that is not there anymore, it shouldn't hurt. It's a toxic relationship. And so you should think about changing it. Another thing that you should know is you deserve peace. Regardless of what this person has reduced you to, whether you're a man or a woman, you deserve peace. Those are take homes for anyone who has been in a toxic relationship. You deserve peace. You deserve safety. You deserve freedom. You need to feel safe. Excuse me. You need to feel safe that regardless of what, you will be loved. And Rogers says on the, I like reading his comments because they make me laugh. On that Myers issue, if this platform has inbox, I have something to tell you on that. Okay, on Myers issue, if this platform has inbox, I have something to tell you on that. Yeah, Rogers, it does. That number that normally runs across the screen or is in the description is our WhatsApp number. You can go on Rogers and inbox and we'll hear what you have to say. The other thing I was talking about, just a reminder, you deserve peace. You who is in a toxic relationship, you need to first of all realize that love shouldn't hurt. So if it is hurting, it is wrong. You shouldn't feel like you're in prison. If it feels at any point like you're in a prison, then it's not love. And you need to do something about it. You deserve safety. You need to feel safe that the person you're with is with you because they want to be with you. And you are with them because you want to, not because you're scared. There's no one else who can take you after them, not because you're scared. The world will know that you actually come from a terrible background or you've done something in the past. it should feel safe, and you should feel freedom. There should be freedom. Freedom to dress the way you feel like you dressing up. Freedom to, make yourself up and doll yourself up and be who you want to be. Freedom to, you know, call anyone that you want to keep in touch with, or text your family, your friends, because they are part of you. They were before this person, and they shouldn't be out of the picture just because you're with them. So that's a quick reminder that just because this one failed, this particular relationship failed, doesn't mean all other relationships will. Because there is a way you can be in a toxic relationship and this person keeps on reminding you that if you left him, no one else will. If you don't go with him, if you ever left him, because this person keeps on saying, I don't know if I didn't marry, if someone else would. If I didn't, if I didn't get involved with you, I wonder who else would have. Just remember that just because this relationship failed, it doesn't mean all the other relationships will. So don't give up on relationships. You can actually make it. You can start afresh, and guess what? The best can always be saved for last. So you could meet that other person that could treat you right. But the problem is staying too long and getting out damaged and thinking everyone else will be as the other one was, which is not good. You can feel free, guys, to drop in your comments. It's a live chat. I'm trying to conclude, but you can feel free to drop in your comments. Let me know where you're watching from, who you are, and what your take is about toxic relationships. Excuse me. Lillian went quiet on me. I don't know whether she's still on or she's gone off to bed. Rogers, you are amazing. You and your comments. You keep this chat alive. And Jasper, Jamie, Audrey, Alan, Lillian, you guys are amazing. Thank you. You're always tuning in. You're always uh, on when we come on, even when there's load shedding and we lose track of when we should be on. You're always on. Thank you so much. And also, just know it's a live chat. You can drop in the comments what you would want us to talk about. Lillian says, Yewase Arabica. Roger says here, Yewase Arabica. She could be actually sleeping. You could be right. Yeah, she could be sleeping. Lillian, let us know if you're still awake or it's late and you are off already. That's okay. Otherwise, Rogers, you suggested a topic for next time: why women take charge and become the leaders of their families. Anyone else with a topic that you'd want us to discuss? Roger says, next time, why some women take in charge of their families, or because a leader of the family, or or because a leader of their family. Okay, I know what Rogers was trying to say, that why do women become in charge of families? It should be that next topic of discussion. Yeah, we'll look into it and we'll discuss it next Friday. Otherwise, guys, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in. Those of you who are not yet subscribed, if you've enjoyed your chat with us, go ahead and subscribe, and together let us do life. Every Friday we do a live chat, and in the week, this channel is dedicated to reading the Bible on a daily basis as the Holy Spirit leads, and we do a chapter or two. We just read the Bible and discuss it. Uh, Feel free to subscribe and join in, and together let us read the Bible. It is one way we can grow. And I've also got another channel called Plates and Places with Winfred, where we do food, and where I take you on different sites where we build and I take you around, show you building places that are being built, and the food, how you can eat and dine like a king or queen in your own house with the simple ingredients that you can have in your house. That is the channel. It's called Plates and Places with Winfred. So, in case you are interested in food, in case you're interested in buildings or building, yeah, Rogers, I need you to subscribe on that one as well. Otherwise, Rogers says, no, I make a mistake. The word was become, not because. Oh, so you were saying, I'm trying to find, okay, you are saying next time why some women take in charge of their family or become leaders of their families. Okay. Are you talking about leaders of their families in terms of husband and wife or leaders of their families at home where they come from before you get married? Is that what you're trying to say? Or leaders of their homes with a husband and children? If that is what you're talking about, I just need clarity and we can do that next Friday. Why women take charge of their homes. And that's a good one. We will think about it. Otherwise, guys, it's a live chat. If you still want to stay on here, let me know who is watching, where you're watching in from, and what your take is on toxic love. Why do people stay in toxic relationships? Why people stay in such relationships is the topic of discussion. So it's a live chat. Don't stay quiet. Let me know who it is that is watching and where you're watching in from. The topic is toxic love. Why do we hold on to the very people who hurt us? Is a topic of discussion. Why does love, something that is supposed to be kind, sometimes feel like a prison? Those are the areas that we are dealing with. Oh, the painful truth about toxic relationships. Why some people stay. I need to hear from you, whoever is still watching. Otherwise, I'm only hanging on because you're still here. If you're not saying a word, then I will sign off. But let me know who is watching and what your take is on toxic love. Why we stay in painful relationships. I've given my reasons and I would love to hear yours as well. Remember, this video is for anyone that has ever asked, why can't I live? And Roger says, um, hmm, yeah, Roger says, is Roger Sekavida from Sharjah. I don't know whether that's I've said it right. Sharjah, UAE. Rogers, thank you. And I know sometimes you call in or you text when you're at work. Thank you for always keeping it right here and always watching and keeping those comments coming. I need to know other people where you're watching from. Rogers is from the UAE. And Rogers, you didn't tell us. Are women toxic? But or tulo tunuma. Oh my goodness, we need to close off. Rogers wants to go off to bed. You have been a good sport, Rogers, and if you chose to go to bed, I wouldn't blame you. Because I think also Lillian went off already. She signed off, and I wouldn't blame you for doing that. Thank you for being here and staking around for 2 hours. Guys, it's been 2 hours, and if you're not dropping any comments, I'm going to be just like Rogers and sign off. So let me know who is watching. Otherwise, I give it about 5 minutes. And if you've not told me who it is that is watching, I would love to join Rogers and go off to bed and sleep until next time. Otherwise, guys, let me know who is watching. where you're watching from, and what your take is. It's a live podcast. We are talking about toxic love, why people can't leave, yeah, why people stay is the topic of discussion today. And why do we hold on to the very people who hurt us? Why does love sometimes feel like a thing that is supposed to be kind, feel like a prison? Those are the areas that we've covered. And remember, this video is for anyone who has ever asked that question. Why can't I live? Otherwise, guys, if you're not saying anything, you have been good watching. Jasper, thank you so much. Rogers, thank you. Alan, thank you so much for tuning in. Lydian, thank you for tuning in. Audrey, thank you for tuning in. Jamie, thank you for tuning in. And everyone else that has been on, even when you've not said anything, thank you so much for tuning in. I've enjoyed chatting with you all and seeing your numbers on here. Our live chats are every Friday, and you can inbox, let me know on the topics what you would want us to discuss. Rogers has already said that he would want to know why women always take charge of their families and become leaders. Otherwise, until next time, guys, if there is no any other comment coming in, I'm going to sign off, and we'll see each other next Friday when we come up with yet another hot topic like the one Rogers has just suggested. Bye bye, guys, and good night. Alan says thank you all, and thank you, Winfred, for the presentation. It's been a blast. Thank you for watching. And Rogers says bye bye, bye bye, bye bye, bye bye, Rogers, and bye bye, everyone, and good night. I'm waiting for my camera person. I think he's just like the rest. He's not ready to hang up yet, but I think it's time, guys. Unless you hang up or get off or say something, I'm waiting for the camera person to take off, and we conclude our chat today. The camera person has got to come and hang up. I think he's still also looking at the numbers and is not ready to hang in the towels. But it's a good night, and thank you, guys. You are always watching, and thank you for the comments. Until next time, take care.